What's up, guys? I just finished watching Tangled, and it was so good. It was so good. I have so many happy feelings and memories with this movie. It's one of those, like, I kind of forget about it, if I'm being honest, and then when I watch it, I'm like, wow, this is just phenomenal. So many good things to get to. I have a whole page. Every line is taken up with notes, so let's jump in. First off, this is the only movie, I'm pretty sure, I'm checking it, with a narrator, especially a narrator who's not the princess. I thought that was a cool choice. Oh my gosh, the opening song, which is the ballad, is perfect for quarantine because she's talking about just what do I do on a daily basis living alone in this tower. That's us. That's all of us. We're not in a tower, but like we're at home all the time. And so it's like, maybe a bit of ballet, a chess, read a book, I'll bake, like all these things. I'm like, quarantine anthem right here. Thought that was perfect. Pascal is precious. Oh my gosh, he is funny, he is sassy, he is spunky. Unlike a lot of the other animals, he is super aware. I think this is part of the reason why I love the cricket from Mulan is because, yes, it's an animal, but it is super aware, it's super sassy, and it does it all without ever speaking a word. Pascal is the same way. I don't know if any of these other people have that. I guess you could, argue Sven, but Sven is given a voice. So yeah, I think he's just the best. I guess, my bad, Pocahontas's animal compadres, which is a raccoon and a hummingbird, and I can't remember their names, but the raccoon is also this, sassy, spunky character. So I love it when Disney gives us those. So fun. Something that I found on the internet, which I saw to just be true yet again here, is that every time Mother Gothel tells Rapunzel, I love you, you're the best, you're wonderful, she looks at, touches, or kisses her hair. Oh, heartbreaking. So I want to take a minute and just talk about their relationship. Okay? Rapunzel and Mother Gothel's relationship, to me, is a class book, manipulative, unhealthy relationship. And let's talk about it for just a second. There's a lot of things that go into this, but whenever Rapunzel kind of expresses something she wants to do that's contrary to what Mother Gothel says, Mother Gothel, in a way, is so good at, guilting it and turning it back on Rapunzel in this awful, awful way, which makes Rapunzel feel bad about herself while also never owning any blame herself. But almost makes it sound like she does. She guilts her in so many ways. She's talking about, the whole Mother Knows Best song is hilarious. It's good, but it's manipulation 101. There were so many moments in this movie, she comes back after they've kind of had their argument. She comes back, she's like, oh, I hate leaving you, Rapunzel, after a fight, especially one where I've done nothing wrong. And so her tone and most of her words even communicate, I hate that we fight, I didn't want to be away from you, while at the same time putting that guilt on Rapunzel that, oh, I didn't do anything wrong, but I still hate to be away from you. And it's that, it just makes my skin crawl because that so many unhealthy relationships exist this way, not just between parents and children, but I think we see this more even in romantic relationships, but it is so sad, especially when parents and children have this kind of relationship. When a parent is so manipulative and controlling to their child, it's heartbreaking. But something I wrote down that I think is worth of note is that there are times where you can see that Mother Gothel does genuinely care about Rapunzel to an extent, but she cares far more about what she gets from Rapunzel. So it's not like she's completely heartless and doesn't care about Rapunzel whatsoever, but her care for what Rapunzel's hair can give her far overshadows it. But I think the way you can see that is that she actually does, when Rapunzel's like, okay, I know I can't go see the lights, but can I get those paints? And she's like, well, that's a 3 days journey back and forth. And she's like, please. She's like, okay, I will. If she didn't care for Rapunzel at all, she wouldn't do that. Yes, it is giving into something smaller than what she wants, but I think it's a little glimmer that she actually does care, even though she is far more selfish and wants what she wants from Rapunzel more than she cares for her, if that makes sense. But I thought it was a beautifully sad depiction of a manipulative relationship, which I think is a good conversation to be having. Maximus, the horse, an amazing character. Amazing character. I loved him. I loved the dynamic he brought. He was fabulous. One thing, I felt like Rapunzel's hair length was not consistent. Like, it's long enough to go down the tower. And it looks like it's kind of like at the limit. When she's letting someone up the tower, it looks like her hair is like at its limit all the way down. But then when she goes down the tower, she like her hair would have to be double the length to do that maneuver. And then it's like other times it's manageable enough that she can like drag it. And then I just don't feel like the braid she has when they're at the palace area. By the way, that braid is phenomenal. We got Moana's bun. We got Rapunzel's braid. We got hair goals all over the place. But I felt like the length it was when it was braided was not realistic with the way we've seen other things happening. That's just my one issue. Like, Disney's usually better than that. And maybe I'm wrong. Disney, you can feel free to talk to me if you have, like, you can show me how it was the same length the whole time. I'll believe you. Until then, I don't think it was. I love that this story was based on, like, is a modern telling of a classic story that most people know, but we don't know from this visual format. Most people grow up, so this movie came out when I was in high school, I believe. So my whole life I grew up knowing the story of Rapunzel, but I didn't grow up watching Rapunzel movies. So they were able to take a story that everyone knew the basics of and make this beautiful, modern, hilarious, relatable interpretation. And I think even calling it Tangled instead of Rapunzel was a wonderful way to kind of show that. Like, it's Rapunzel, but it's fun and it's quirky and it's got a voice, it's got a tone, and it's here and it snaps. And I'm just like, yeah, I really appreciate that. I think it's so cool. I thought there was good humor throughout. I think the song I've Got a Dream is the perfect encapsulation of the whole tone and humor of this movie. And I think it's also the perfect encapsulation of the message, which I realized I did not talk about when we talked about the song in the beginning. So I don't remember the name of the song, I'll be honest, but it's her, When Will My Life Begin? That's what it is. Good song. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was good. I thought it was fun. But it wasn't really something that inspired. It wasn't really like this universal theme. It's not something I'm going to scream along to on the bus with you guys. Like, it's fun. And like I said, right now it's relatable, but in every other point in life, it's not really that relatable. But it's good. The vocals are good. You can sing along to it. It establishes her character well. So like, it's good, but it's not a 10. It's an 8. It's solid. It's very good. Yes. So I've Got a Dream. For me, I felt like the big message underlying in this whole story is the one of don't judge a book by its cover. Because you have the ruffians, right? You've got these rough and tumble guys, but then they're like revealing these like sweet inner desires and dreams they have, and I think it's wonderful and it's beautiful. And so I'm giving that a 10 out of 10. Like, don't judge a book by a cover. And I think that's something you see time and time again throughout the life of Jesus. Like, there's all of these people. My favorite is the story of Zacchaeus. So you can find in the book of Luke, Zacchaeus, he was a tax collector. He was not, like, everyone hated him where he lived. They all hated him. But Jesus looked at him and he was like, no, I'm going to come to your house. I'm going to eat with you. And back then that was like a symbol of acceptance. And he wasn't like, well, you're a tax collector, so I'm going to leave you alone. Like, Jesus always looked at people for who they could be. He didn't look at them and see, wow, you're an awful person. He looked at them as like, I love you and I see so much of what you can be. Like, I know who you are in God's eyes, and that's how I choose to see you. And so that's a 10 out of 10, people. Like, that is a 10 out of 10 with a Z snap on top of it. Such a good, so good. Such a fun song, such a good note, like, Speaking of the adventure beats, I talk about this in the Moana video, that Moana was an adventure story, and the beats, like, you hit beats in an adventure. Think of it like an episode of Dora the Explorer, where it's like, ooh, we're going to go to Candy Mountain. If you get that reference, you're awesome. And but then there's these stops along the way. There's like, you see Sniper, you have to find an object, and then you get to Candy Mountain. Think of it kind of like that. The adventure beats in this movie are phenomenal. You have The I've Got a Dream is an adventure beat. And then when Flynn hurts his hand and Mother Gothel comes, that's another adventure beat. And then kind of the third one, arguably, is I See the Light, which we're going to talk about in a second. So good. But the adventure beats were solid. They were fun. They're standout moments. They're not moments you really kind of forget about or fast forward through. Like, they are the moments. They are so good. Speaking of, she's so resourceful throughout the whole movie. I loved when Flynn like sees her hair glow and then finds out that it heals. Like, his reaction is perfect. It's relatable. It's real. I thought it was so funny. I'm gonna come back to that one. The manipulation that you see when Mother Gothel comes back is top notch. It is classic textbook manipulation. Like, it's hard to watch now that I've seen people in those emotionally manipulative, borderline abusive relationships. Like, it has a different weight now, because I'm like, like, it's not even like this, Mother Gothel's awful. It's like, this relationship hurts my heart. And I think it's a beautiful way for Disney to address a serious issue in a lighthearted movie in a way that when you're younger, it doesn't read as intense to you, but when you're older, like, it has a deeper meaning, which is part of the reason I think this movie is phenomenal. I See the Light. That is a 10 out of 10 song for me. If only it was the main ballad, but it's not. I See the Light. It's so good. My best friend danced. That was her first dance at her wedding with her husband. That's how good this song is. It's romantic. It's beautiful. The visuals. The lantern poetry is like pinnacle in that song. It's so beautiful because the lanterns, like for Rapunzel in her tower, she sees the lanterns, and to those, it's like this beacon. It's like calling her. She wants to come. She wants to discover what it is. And the beacon's actual purpose is to call the princess home, which is her, right? She doesn't know that. And then it's like it's what brings her there. But then also, like, when the lanterns are going up, it's like a beacon for Flynn of what his life could be, of what he's experiencing with Rapunzel in this better, different way. Oh my gosh, I see the light. It's so good. It's not just about romance. It's about so much more. And yeah, I love that song. It's so, so good. Okay. Let's talk about saving Eugene / the hair powers. All right, here's the thing. When Eugene was like dying and he got saved, when I saw this movie in theaters, I was with some guys who were like not emotional guys, and they cried. It's an emotional scene. Like, everyone should cry at least the first time they see this movie in that scene. It's emotional. It's beautiful. But let's talk about the powers of the hair. I think the hair has two powers that, above every other thing, to me, are just amazing. First power. She has never cut her hair her whole life. And that hair is beautiful and silky and healthy, and there are no split ends. That is magic. Okay? All of us in quarantine with the long hair, you know what I'm saying. It's magical that she has no split ends. Number 2, yes, the last bit of the flower magic, what came out in her tears and healed Eugene. But the last of the pure hair magic is that when he took a jagged piece of a mirror, cut her hair in one smooth motion, and it was a perfectly layered pixie cut. Guys, you saw my hair. You cut my hair last summer. You took those scissors, you cut my hair. You saw how much of a hot mess it was. It took 3 haircuts to fix that hot mess. I am not believing for a half a second. No. A jagged piece of a mirror, one swoop, perfect pixie cut, magic. That's the real last magic of the hair. Fight me on it. I can't. Like, it's a perfect pixie cut. Like, Alice Cullen is jealous of that pixie cut. If you didn't get that reference, that's fine. You don't need to. Don't waste your time. I'm just kidding. Twilight's okay. Anyway, the final one we haven't talked about of our big 3 categories is role model. And I'm giving Rapunzel a 10 out of 10. And you might be like, but Sam, you give so many people a 9 out of 10 because of disrespect to parents. And she totally disrespects her parents. Okay, let's talk about it. 1, her mom was manipulative. So, like, sometimes you just gotta, Okay, but here's the real reason. Is the scene when she gets out of the tower and she's running around, and then she has this wonderful back and forth of, like, one moment she's like, I'm free, it's amazing, and the next moment she's lying face down on the grass saying, I am a horrible human. That back and forth, that to me is what gives her that 10 out of 10. is because she's making a choice as an adult. She's 18, so it's a little different. Because she's 18, she's an adult. She's choosing to go out on her own. And she's feeling that tug and pull of like, this is what I've always wanted. This is like, I'm so happy to be finally doing this, experiencing freedom, which she should have. But then there's also that like, but I'm disrespecting my mom. Like, she feels it. And she's making a conscious decision as an adult of what to do. Because she feels and recognizes both sides of it, that to me gives her a 10 out of 10. Because you're going to have to make hard choices in life that isn't going to please everybody. And being able to feel and see and understand both sides of it and then making a conscious decision, that's a very grown-up, mature thing. I'm giving her a 10 out of 10. But on top of that, like, she's strong. She's caring. She chooses to see the best in people. I mean, she's just great. That's just all there is to it. She's great. Okay, so this is obviously a long video, but that's a total score of a 28. Let's see where she goes. I know there's a lot of talk, at least on the interwebs, in the meme land, of whether Frozen or Tangled is a better movie. I'm just going to say this before I put her on the board. These movies are all great. They're all great. And the more I watch them and now having to rank them, the more I have to say it's really hard to do a one-to-one comparison of what's better than the other. Even if you look, the score does not always determine where they go on the board. A 29 is below a 27 and a 28 on this board. There's a lot. It's really, really hard to compare them. And half of it, I just have to go on my gut of like what I see. And this is really hard. Not only are there no holes in the lineup right now, but it's so hard to compare. But I have to say, especially after watching them back to back, while Moana and Rapunzel are both amazing, I think Rapunzel goes above Moana. I'm not going to do it right now, but basically Rapunzel's going to go to 3, and these are all going to move down, and that's going to take me a hot minute, so I'm not going to make you watch it. But that's where we stand. Guys, there are 2 more. We've got Sleeping Beauty coming up, and we've got Aladdin, and then we're done. So watch out. We got 1 week left. I'll see you guys.